John, this is a loaded question, but how have things been going? New Raven album on the horizon, and we've had a few months to maybe put this together. How has kind of the COVID-19 situation has it kind of helped you guys find the time to put the finishing touches on this?
Uh, it's basically, we've been very lucky the way it's worked out. We initially wanted to bring out the album earlier this year, but we had some delays due to the artwork, and also we wanted to tour, and the lineup we wanted for Europe, the other bands couldn't commit. And we just decided to postpone everything. And literally, as soon as we said that, then there was the lockdown. So it's actually worked out okay for us because the record's going to come out at a time where people are dying for anything music related. So we are going to give them a great album for sure.
You definitely have one here. I've just been listening to it, John. I'm so impressed with this work. I love the drum sound, and I'll tell you that's a big deal for you guys. Talk to us about that. You've worked with a new drummer now for the past few years. What's it been like with Mike on board? How do you think what has he brought to the band? Because to me, the drum sound is as strong as it's been on a Raven album in many years.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's just a ball of energy, it's really helped kick everything into like a new level. I mean, we knew we had a great album written before Mike, was part of the band or even involved in any way at all. Uh, and once his input came into it, just the playing and the energy and the creativeness, his technical ability is like just off the charts. So we just told him, go nuts, do your thing. And if necessary, we'll follow your lead in certain places, as far as the arrangements are concerned. And it just worked out wonderful. And a lot of things were very difficult putting this record together. I mean, it really took, until now, it really took about almost 3 years. And we did not want that to happen, but it did. But in a sense, maybe that's what had to happen in order to make it come together this way, because this is the best thing we've ever done. I really believe that. And to have, for a number of years, oh, I like your new record, but I still love the old ones. This one is that record that you can say, this is as good, if not better. And personally, I think it's better. So after 46 years, we're throwing the gauntlet down and saying, beat that. We've come up with the best thing we've done, while you guys are putting out so washed up, lazy records. We're not doing that. We're doing the real deal.
This is the real deal. There is a ferocity to this album, a youthfulness. I mean, I think that it's really impressive. So, talk to us about the song "Top of the Mountain." You did a lyric video for that song. Why did you kind of want to start off featuring that song with a video? A lot of great songs on this album, but "Top of the Mountain" definitely one of the standouts.
I figured it was. I mean, we've been playing it live, funnily enough, for like the last couple of years, because we just wanted to do something new. And it was wonderful getting that fresh reaction from a song that nobody's heard and just seeing how it went down. And by the time you get the second chorus, everyone's got their fists in the air shouting along, you're on the right track. So we knew that was a great pick for the first song to release off the record because it's got its foot in both camps. It's got something new about it, but it's also got that familiar. I mean, it's parts of it sound like it could be off Rock Until You Drop or Wiped Out, and it's got that energy. So it was the perfect synergy to put that out.
Yeah, well, tremendous stuff, John. I'm so excited for you guys. Raven has just always been one of those bands, so respected. You guys have a fan base, and you got people know kind of what you're going to get from a Raven album, but this is taking it to a new level. I mean, the last album you came out with was in 2015, so you've had 5 years to really do this. Do you feel, the fact that you're able to really entrench into this album and dig into it for the last 5 years, that has to have paid dividends for you guys, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like I said, we did not want to take 5 years to do this. It just
Yeah.
happened that way. The initial sessions were abortive due to malfeasance, let's say. It didn't work out that way. We had to take our toys and go somewhere else. And we were going to wait until Mike had his studio built, but then we ended up doing it with Michael Wagner in Nashville to do the tracking for the bass guitars and the vocals. And that was awesome, working with our old friend once again, who's, you know, he's the guy if you want guitars, and he's brilliant with the vocals. We just got everything just the way we wanted it. But when it came to the mix, it wasn't quite what we wanted. So we auditioned that out to a number of people. So that took more time. And then we got Zeus, who came in and did a killer job on that. So it's got that old school feel. It's organic, but it sounds, modern, 21st century without sounding fake, the
And
best
it's
of
got a
both
song,
worlds.
absolutely, and it's got a song on it called Motorheadin', a nice little tribute to your former mates, your mates in Motorhead there, and Lemmy, who it's unbelievable to think about. It's almost been 5 years since we lost Lemmy, and they were, flag wavers from the new wave of British heavy metal movement, as you guys were. Just talk about Lemmy and kind of what he meant to you and kind of what Motorhead meant to you guys, kind of coming up through the clubs there in England.
Yeah, well, we opened first for Motorhead in '82. And, I'd seen them at the Reading Festival down in England, in the south of England, in '79. And they sounded like they were playing through a broken transistor radio. It sounded absolutely dreadful. But when we played with them in '82 on the Iron Fist tour, I mean, they were louder than God. It was ridiculous. And they were so out of it. And it's like, how are you even functioning? But they got on stage, and it was it was one of those points where you watch and go, well, we're not going to do that, because they played like 7 new songs in a row or something. Absolutely mental. And we played with them many times over the years, and Lemmy was always the ringleader, and very, very funny, sharp wit, absolutely.
Just talk about kind of the genesis of Raven, because I mean, you guys were formed in the mid '70s, yet it was 1981 until you came out with Rock Until You Drop. What were those years, those 6 years like for you guys, slugging it out in the clubs? I mean, obviously it was a very blue collar existence for you guys back then in England. What were those 6 years like for you before you dropped that first album?
Well, we learned our trade. We formed the band before we could really play. We got our first instruments Christmas 1974. Played our first show probably a year later, around December 1975. Late in '76, started playing pubs. And the club circuit, the working men club, which is, brutal. Entertain us or die, There's no half measures, but that's the Northeast fans in general. Very fair, but vicious. If they like you, they will love you for forever. And if they hate you, they will hunt you down and kill you. So, I mean, that was a great basis, a great place to learn our trade. And from that, I mean, even early in the '80s, when we had some dates opening for Whitesnake, it was like, Gary Moore's dropped off the tour. Can you guys play in Sheffield tomorrow? It's like, yeah. And we get there, and the first the audience hears about it is, hey, how you doing tonight? Gary Moore can't be here. Here's Raven. And, hardcore fans going, boo. And we won them over, because that's our job. That's what we do. Get out there, cajole them, Worst case scenario, you make them hate you even more than when you walked on.
That's yeah. I mentioned it being very blue collar there in England, but I didn't quite have it pegged to that extent. That's
I'm definitely watering it down a little bit. Some of the language was choice, let me tell you.
Well, you guys in the early '80s, you mentioned opening for Whitesnake, but you talked about Motorhead and Ozzy and Iron Maiden at that time. Did you feel in England in the early '80s that there was kind of a groundswell of this movement that wound up being referred to as the new wave of British heavy metal? Were you aware that it was building there?
Yeah, I mean, people ask me now, like, you were a member of the new wave for British heavy metal. And I go, whoa, 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 it wasn't a club. We didn't have like plastic cards with our name on and a number, It was totally organic, and it was an era rather than a genre, you know.
Yeah.
It just happened that there was a lot of kids who loved hard, heavy music and wanted to play it, and ended up, in the public eye, as it were, because all of those bands are really different from each other. We're not like Diamond Head. Diamond Head's not like Saxon. Saxon's not like Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden weren't like Def Leppard. But the one thing all those bands and the other bands had was a passion and an energy, you know, and that transcended all the other stuff, definitely.
Does it
So you
shock
could
you?
feel, you could feel there was
Yeah.
something in the air,
Does it shock you that 40 years later, we're still talking about bands like Raven releasing new music and touring? We're still talking about Whitesnake touring, Iron Maiden as big as they've ever been globally. Does it shock you that this music has endured for 40 years?
No, it really doesn't. You know why? Because when I was a kid in 1976 and I got to hear Judas Priest's Sad Wings of Destiny, or when I was a kid in 1973 and got to see Slade live on stage, that was, this was our religion. It cut us and we would bleed heavy metal and riffs. And, this stuff is not a fad. It was never
Yeah.
going away. And, things change and the wheel turns and maybe it's more popular and then it goes away. But we're the cockroaches of the music business. You'll never kill us out. We'll always come back one way or another. And right now it's the wheels turning. It's a good time for heavy metal overall.
I absolutely agree with that, John, and I'm so glad that that's the case. What I want to talk to you a little bit about America, because one of Metallica's first tours they did in America was with you guys. But talk about kind of that tour with Metallica, what it was like, what are your memories of it, and just kind of the significance and sort of the difficulties of breaking into the mainstream in America versus in Europe.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a lot harder to do that in America because it's, gigantic in comparison. It really is. But we came over in 82, Halloween, played the Halloween Headbangers Ball and a couple of club shows. And, let's come back in 83 and do it right and do a headlining tour. And John Z had said, hey, I've got the biggest band in San Francisco to open for you guys. And we're looking at each other like, Y&T? He goes, no, Metallica. We're like, who? And, heard the demo tape. It sounded like Motorhead on crack. We're like, okay, these guys sound cool. Let's do it. And, they were four young kids out of California. It was their first tour and they learned the ropes and we had a great time. We played some big cities, but we also played places like Bald Knob, Arkansas, and we played a bar in Oklahoma that was straight out of the Blues Brothers, but it didn't have the chicken wire. So when they threw stuff, you got hit.
Well, I'm from Missouri, so I'm sure you ventured up this way a little bit too. Some of those same exact clubs, like from the movie Roadhouse. That would be
Oh,
jealous.
absolutely,
uh,
absolutely.
that
Over
builds
the years,
character.
we've certainly done them, but it
Well,
was for three young kids out of Newcastle to come and travel America from end to end was just eye-opening. And the one thing we did see was opportunity. So,
certainly, and here we are, John. How many tour dates has affected you guys during this COVID? I didn't know what your touring was going to look like, kind of before all this, and then kind of what you can plan for, if you can plan at all, for taking this album Metal City on the road when and if we can get back to touring here soon.
well, we would have been touring right through, of course, but
Yeah.
we postponed the album, which we kind of had to because we didn't have the artwork 100% together. Uh, And the tour, we didn't have the opening bands we wanted. They couldn't commit for those dates. So we said, let's put it off till later. And then COVID happened. So it's worked out for us, actually. We have a European tour booked for February. And all things being equal, we'll be out doing that. And then we'll follow on from there. Because you do know that the virus will disappear on November 4th, right?
I wasn't going to bring that up, but I completely agree with you. That seems about the time that it might just expire. Yeah, that's kind of what I
Yeah,
think too.
I think so. I think so. I mean,
That's
it's,
funny,
we can laugh and joke and we can tell the truth, but
right?
we're stuck in this horrible situation, and I just hope for everyone's sake that this clears up very quickly and we can all get back to kicking ass. Put it that way.
That's what it's all about, John. I got to ask you before we let you go. I mean, you you have worked with your brother Mark side by side for the past 45 years. What's that been like for you? What's your relationship like? Kind of working relationship, and then is it how do you turn it off and sort of just be brothers after the music is over? What's it been like for you working with him?
Well, we're two different people, but we fit together like two sides of a coin, you know. We definitely have a shared passion for what we do, and that rubs off musically. He'll play something, I'll play something complementary, boom, without even thinking about it. You know, I know the right part to make it bigger and better. And we used to fight when we were kids, but then when we started playing guitar, we just started taking it out on the instruments and smashing those up instead. So occasionally there's arguments and disagreements, and they blow over. We get on with it. You know.
Well, John, we got to point people in the right direction here because the website is ravenlunatics.com. If people want to go and pre-order the album, which comes out September 18th, where's the best place to go do that? And is there a physical copy? I assume. I think you have a CD available. Is there kind of anything special, a vinyl or
Yeah.
digital releases?
Well,
Where can we go and pre-order that right now?
there's links for Amazon. There's links for Barnes and Noble. There's links for Fi. If anyone's on Facebook and wants to look at my page, John Gallagher Raven, there's links up on there. The links will be up on the website. The website's being revamped at the moment, so you might not see much of anything, but it's going to be up and running very soon. We'll have all that good stuff. And, you know, just the vinyl, purple vinyl, and I
Wow.
believe you actually get a CD in with it as well. I mean, I know the Europeans are definitely doing that. The artwork, it's like comic book. There's a piece of art for each song. The thank you list is the ad page, like in the old Marvel or DC comics. We had a blast putting it together. It's really cool. And the people that have seen it so far have been blown away.
Yeah. I was
But
going to say it looks a little comic book like. There's the cover is amazing. The packaging looks tremendous. I was going to say it has a comic book vibe to it, so that's really cool.
yeah, it's the whole package. You know, you've got a good album, you got to have the window dressing for it too. And it took a lot of work, but well worth it. Absolutely. I'm blown away
Well,
by it.
John, I'm blown away by this album. Best of luck to you. Congratulations on this work that you guys have done. It's tremendous. Love Raven. Love you guys so much. Hopefully we get things back to normal. We get Raven to America here at some point and get a proper tour done for Metal City because the album deserves it and the crowds are definitely waiting for you guys. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll see you 2021.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much.